I've been talking about writing scripts and making movies, but first you need the idea which sparks off the whole creative process. So where do these ideas come from? Ideas which set you off on the filmmaking path can come from anywhere, and often do. Ideas can come from anywhere. There's so many different places. Any aspect of life can throw up an idea which could evolve into a script and then a movie. I've made a list of some which I'm going to go through, but it's by no means a definitive list. So look for ideas or be open to ideas in every moment of your life, because they're always there. Okay, I've got a list because one of the things, actually, I'll start with this. One of the things about identifying moments which interest you or excite you is to make notes about them. And especially as you get older, which is one of the reasons I've got this, you forget things. So you've got to write them down or make a voice recording or make a video or whatever way you like to take notes, do it. Because if you don't do it at the time, later on, what you'll remember is that you thought of something great, but you can't remember what it actually is. And that is so frustrating. So I would advise, no matter what your age, as soon as the idea hits you or you observe something which you find interesting, make a note, because you never know when you could use it in the future. Excuse me. Walking's a great thing just for clearing your mind. And sometimes it's that clearing of the mind that allows fresh ideas to come in. And whenever I'm stuck with trying to solve a story problem or something, any other problem in writing or the film or anything to do with the filmmaking process, I walk, because I know it just sort of frees up the blockage. Observing, obviously, things in everyday life, just be a bit more aware of them. When you walk around the city, I'm in London, so many people are switched off from the environment around them. I'm not just talking about their faces in phones, but just looking down or not being aware of their environment. And you miss so much. So just open up your eyes, and that will open up your mind, believe me. Reading and watching movies is an obvious one. They will, things that you see and read and watch will embed themselves in the back of your mind, and they sort of store there. And later on, even without consciously referencing them, you'll get ideas from them, and you'll realize after you've written something or you've filmed something that the core of that idea you had came from this thing you watched or you read. And you may not be conscious when you're doing it, but later on you'll go, oh yeah, that's because I read that book or watched that other movie and I got inspired from that to do this. And of course, at times you do that very consciously as well. And incidents in your own life. A lot of people draw on incidences in their own life to spark an idea or to, spark an idea. I mean, it's just that, isn't it? Oops. So don't be shy to use them. You can dress them up, or you've got to be a bit wary about very deeply personal things. You don't want to expose yourself in a way which may be harmful, or expose an incident in a way which may be harmful to someone else. So you've got to be a bit aware of that and be a bit mature about that and make some assessments. And if you're in doubt, ask someone close to you or someone who cares for you for some input, because you may think it's a great idea, and when you talk it through with someone else, they might make it apparent to you that it's a terrible idea. So just be healthy is what I'm saying. Be healthy. Make notes, I mentioned that. A news event, something happens on the news. A script I started writing and ended up getting some help with was the idea originated from two things: an incident in my personal life, which I just talked about, and a news event. And somehow, two very, very different things. I used both of those ideas, I should say, as part of the story. And you wouldn't think that they would go together, but they do. So don't rule anything out. And news events for me is a bit hypocritical because I don't watch much news these days because, I don't know, I find there's a lot of people talking a lot of crap. So it's hard to know where the truth is. But the beauty of making movies is you're creating your own truth. So it's not a documentary, it's fiction. So what triggers an idea can come from anywhere. Yep. Combination, like I just mentioned, things are brewing in your subconscious all the time. And you should, not resist the ideas that come forward. Just let them flow if they come. Doesn't matter if they're terrible. Doesn't matter if everyone looks at you like you're an idiot. Just don't turn off the tap or try and tighten it. Just let them flow, because it's hard to get to that point where they flow. So don't what's the word I'm trying to think of? It's not harness. I'll say harness. Excuse for the coffee. I've got a bit of a throat thing. Don't harness your thoughts. Just let them come. There's plenty of time later for deleting them or refining them. Don't try and stop or judge. Just write it down or record it or whatever. Just get the thought down, get the idea down. And one of the things you've heard me say before is, and in conversations are a great thing for getting ideas from, or even just very specific things. So, you might hear a conversation one day in a cafe where you're having a coffee, and it might be just the tiniest little drama that's going on. But then, 4 years later, you're making a film and you've got this scene in a coffee shop and it's just not working and it's boring and you need a little something. But because you've made this note or observed this interaction in this coffee shop 4 years ago, you've got a solution. So, hoard. In normal life, I give stuff away. I don't hang on to things which aren't absolutely necessary for me. But when it comes to filmmaking, you should hoard. Get ideas and little snippets of life you observe. Hoard them, keep them, because you'll find they'll come in use at some point. And the final thing I'd say is something I've mentioned several times already on my videos, so forgive me, but give the ideas time to breathe. So even if you're like me and get impatient and start writing scenes and things, you've got to stop yourself at some point and put the idea aside. Even if you've written a whole script, put the script aside and just forget about it. And you'll find that when you come back to it, that script I mentioned earlier, that combined the two ideas, I wrote it with help from a very good friend of mine. I thought it was, this is years ago, and I thought it was pretty good shape. But I realized it wasn't kind of hanging together. And then I got a writer to co-write it with me, and basically to get rid of the crap and knock it into a decent sort of structure. I thought, that's great. Struggled with getting financing, which I mentioned in one other video a few months ago. So it got put in the drawer, even if I didn't want it to be. And then about, I don't know, 4 months ago, I pulled it out again, because this script is my baby. If I never did anything else, this is the thing I'd want to do. And I looked at it and I thought, oh God, we had, I won't say what it is, but there was something which was repeated 5 or 6 times, which only needed to be done once. And just having that time, and you read it again, you go, oh God, I need to get rid of all that. And there's a couple of scenes I cut completely all together as well. And every time you put it away, it gives your unconscious mind time to work on it. And at the same time, you're evolving as a filmmaker and as a human being. So your ideas are growing and getting depth and meat, and you realize, and getting older helps with this, because as you get older, you learn to cut the crap out of your life, and you do that more and more as you get older. And that's very handy for when you look at scripts, because when you pull it back out of the drawer, you think, well, what's the point of this? What's the point of that? It's not helping the story at all. So you cut it. And it's better to cut the crap and build on the good stuff than just, you don't want to, disturb what you've already done, because, it's kind of a fear thing as well. And there's ego in there, definitely. So I'm a great fan of just, even if it's just one line idea you get, just put it in a drawer, forget about it for a while. When you have the idea, if you want to flush it out, do that. But once you've come to the end of that, put it in the drawer, forget about it for a while, and it will only be better because of it. Thanks for watching. It'd be great if you could like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you'd like to support me further, you can buy me a coffee. There's a link in the description below. I hope to see you in the next one.